set for all of the law they wish. Still I want away.
Crowley's influence is immense. I'm not sure that it can be quantified easily.
Das Silvela Lepe to the Meda Plama, Udlujera Ai, Tapiate, Yamael,
His intuition and his ability to manipulate media ensures that even though he died in the middle of the last century, it hasn't been an obstacle, and his influence is felt even now.
So if we're talking about influencing, he manipulated and used photography and the press the way people use Instagram and TikTok today. Like photographing himself as an Egyptian god and then circulating it in the newspapers. This generated his magic and his power. Like these influencers who bottle their farts and then sell them.
Seem detailed, shameless enough to mention fingernails.
But I'm not saying the influence thing is either a good or a bad thing, it just is. But as regards the influencer, I mean, it's a bit like in a biological laboratory. If you inoculate a plate with bacteria, I mean, the bacteria, what it'll do is it'll grow exponentially until it produces so much waste, it incurs like cell death, and the population crashes because it becomes toxic. And I think that's what we can see happening with influencers now. Like you mentioned, bottling farts. I suppose he did a similar thing where he'd top each time he did something depraved, he'd top it with a new depravity, and obviously the papers would be all over it. But as well as influences like that, I mean, he had influences on even technology, like the space program.
One of the most interesting, probably one of the most important of those he influenced, in my opinion, was Jack Parsons, who founded the Jet Propulsion Laboratories, basically kicked off the NASA and the Apollo program.
Yeah, as well as being like a Victorian version of an edgelord and influencing the Apollo program, the moonshot. His biggest influences, without doubt, the music industry, and just how many bands that have been influenced by either his writings or his rituals, or I don't know, just his personality. I mean, just as an example, let's think about a band like, I don't know, Hawkwind. If you look at their sort of stage show in the 70s, it sort of harkens back and echoes the rites of Eleusis, which Crowley performed at Caxton Hall in Westminster in 1910, where he used lighting, poetry, music, incense, smoke, mirrors, the whole shebang, to produce a show of the rites that blew people's minds, and it's been copied so much since. He's definitely had an influence, certainly on gigs and stadiums and concerts and stuff like that. Also, the whole backmasking technique, where they listened to records backwards like kids did in the 70s. That was all Crowley's idea. 1913, the Book of Magic 4, he insists adepts do everything backwards, including listening to records, and obviously this was employed by loads of bands from, I think the Beatles may be the first band to do it, and then obviously that was taken up and copied by a lot of other bands like Led Zeppelin, Styx, Yellow, Queen, yeah. And then there's the artwork, which, I mean, let's face it, what rock band's is a rock band without some sort of occult imagery on the sleeve of the record? I mean, you know, bands like Rush, Led Zepp, Yellow, I mean, they all used it. And what rock band today can you not think of that's used some sort of occult imagery on their album covers? Well, there's also the fact that it's now creeping into the sort of mainstream.
My fingernails grow on my fingers, and my fingers are fixed firmly to my hand. It is my hand that terminates my arm, and that fixed to my shoulder like a charm. My shoulder is a portion of my trunk. I hope no prostitute, however drunk, would end the shocking feat.
Such is his influence. I mean, if you think about his tree of influence, so all the branches and twigs that sort of ride out from Crowley's influence, and almost infinite. It's like dropping a stone into a body of water, and those rings like spreading outwards and outwards and outwards until they hit the shore, and then they start to rebound and come back in, and then they cross each other and cause interference patterns. I just think that this guy's influence is going to go on forever.
It's leider, it's nooit